Hi there, this is Chef Ida coming to you from my mother's kitchen in the Chicago suburbs. Today we're going to make chocolate chip cookies with one of my favorite all-time recipes, America's Sweetheart, Nestle Toll House. I already have my oven preheated to 375 degrees. I have my KitchenAid ready to go and my ingredients measured out. So let's go ahead and get started. In a small bowl, we're going to take some of our dry ingredients. We're going to take our flour, our baking soda, which is going to help our cookies spread, and salt. We're going to whisk these together and then set the bowl aside for later. In a standing mixer with the paddle attachment, you can also just use a large bowl and a handheld egg beater if you'd like. We're going to add granulated white sugar, brown sugar, the vanilla extract, and unsalted butter. We're going to take these ingredients and we are going to beat them until the butter is fully incorporated into the sugar. Let's get a closer look. One thing you'll want to do a couple times is to take your bowl off of the mixer, sometimes easier said than done, and use a bowl scraper and make sure you get all those little nooks and crannies. Ingredients tend to hide out right there. So just go ahead and pop this back and keep mixing it, but we're almost at that consistency that we want. The color is a little bit lighter, our sugars are fully incorporated, are almost there, and the butter is nice and soft. Now that our ingredients are fully incorporated, we're gonna go ahead and add our egg. Keep in mind, I am doing a half recipe instead of a full recipe. So there should be 2 eggs if you're doing the full one. Now, we want to add this egg and beat it until it's also fully incorporated. With this part too, since we want it to be nice and fully incorporated, you can go ahead and tilt your standing mixer up and scrape all those ingredients to make sure everything gets nice and mixed. All right, so that's looking great. Now we can go ahead and add our dry mixture with the flour and salt and baking powder. We're gonna mix this until just incorporated. We don't wanna do too much processing with the flour because that will start to build up the gluten, and we really want this to be nice and tender. Slow it first so that flour doesn't go everywhere, and you can use one of those shields if you have one at home. Let's go ahead and scrape down just one more time to make sure everything is really nice and incorporated. All right, that's looking great. Now for the last part, chocolate chips. Now we're just gonna give this a gentle stir on the lowest possible setting, just to mix those chocolate chips in. I have a confession to make. I never make it through an entire batch of making cookies without trying at least a little bit of the dough. It's so good. That white sugar, that brown sugar, so good, melts in your mouth. Can't wait to make these cookies. So now we're gonna take our scooper and we're going to scoop out our cookies. I like to use a scooper just to make sure that all of the cookies are the same size, because when they're the same size, they're going to cook at the same rate and you're not gonna have any sort of unevenness. Let's go ahead and speed this up a little bit, shall we? To me, there are a few things that make the house smell quite as good as freshly baked chocolate chip cookies. So let's get these in the oven and make the house smell fantastic. Oh, smells like heaven. I've had the cookies baking in the oven for the last 10 minutes, so let's go ahead and take a look. They smell wonderful. They look great. They have a little bit of brown around the edges. They will slightly sink once they cool down. I'm gonna let these cool down and then move them onto a cooling rack. How do you know that your cookies are cool enough to handle and move onto your wire rack? If you can touch the sheet tray and it's not burning, then you're good to go. My cookies have cooled down enough for me to handle them. I can't resist tasting one right out of the oven, so I'm gonna go ahead and treat myself to the one that looks the best. Check this guy out. Great color, flattened out a little bit after cooling. I can't wait to taste these with all the melted chocolate. Oh, it's so warm. Nice gooey inside. I love the soft chewiness of these. I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy this with a glass of milk. I'm gonna put the rest on a wire tray to cool them down. Happy cooking. I mean, seriously, like Nestle Toll House, you nailed it. This is awesome. For real.